re-election bid.
There's been another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
Early voting kicked off today.
Welcome to election night coverage.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
The last year and a half in about 40 seconds. Welcome to another busy broadcast week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It doesn't get old, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump is the president-elect. In just a couple of weeks, we will have a second Trump administration. If you would like to join us at any point today, give us a call, shoot us a text on the adventknows.com talk and text line 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly DOD@iHeartMedia.com. We are up and streaming on X via the Dan O'Cam. Just go to at Dan O'Donnell Show there. Also at Dan O'Donnell Show on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Before we get to anything, that is, Democrats still unable or perhaps just unwilling to look inward to get to the real reason that they suffered a catastrophic, humiliating defeat, that the country in massive numbers, record numbers really, rejected their woke agenda. Now, there is something that has sort of been nagging at me. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer in what should be an incredible celebration. Although we don't have it officially clinched, Republicans are now just one seat away from the 218 they need to get a House majority. It is still kind of amazing. Arizona and California are still counting votes. 6 days later. May I remind you that the third biggest state in the nation, Florida, had every single vote counted within about an hour and a half on Tuesday night. Here we are nearly a week later, but that, I suppose, is the point. We're going to win the trifecta. We get the Senate, we get the House, we get the presidency. The United States Supreme Court is going to be conservative for a generation. It is almost certain that Clarence Thomas and potentially Sam Alito, too, resign. Democrats are getting very, very panicked about Sonia Sotomayor because she's getting up there in years if she dies or becomes incapacitated in some way, just like RBG a couple of weeks before the 2020 presidential election. Would Trump be able to get a 7-2 majority on the court? But there's something that's been sort of eating at me. And I'm not going to be a downer, because I understand the repudiation of woke leftism and the embrace of conservatism amongst the presidential electorate. But I wonder if this was, to some extent, lightning in a bottle. And I will explain, have no fear, probably in the 10 o'clock hour. Before we get to anything, though, Fall Fortune Cash Contest word this hour, Bills, B-I-L-L-S, Bills. You have got until 55 past the hour. Go to our website, enter the keyword Bills, and you will win $1,000 if your entry is picked at random. Throughout the day today, more epic Trump meltdowns, including one woman who is taking about as drastic a measure as humanly possible, another who has an epic freak out in a supermarket in Long Island. These things never get old, but they sort of reveal a deeper mental health issue in the United States of America, circulating amongst primarily the left. Look, folks, I am someone who has been a big advocate for mental health and getting treatment and getting on the right combination of medicine to just raise serotonin levels or, reduce anxiety. I myself take escitalopram for anxiety. As I always say, it may come as a shock to people that I'm a little high strung. There's no shame in it. But what we've seen over the last couple of years, really leading up to the election and now sort of the aftermath, and how, look, a lot of these TikTok videos are just people who want to get attention on them. I mean, let's face it, it's overacting, it's melodrama, it's people who just all about me, right? Me. I'm sure that would probably be me at age 22 if I didn't have a radio talk show as an outlet. Now, I wouldn't be crying and screaming, but I would probably be on TikTok making my political points because, I don't know, that's what I do. But we do have a deeper underlying crisis that I think has been exacerbated by mass media that has, for, I think, partly ideological reasons, partly self-interest in getting as many viewers as possible to hook into this idea and buy into the notion that somehow America is at stake, that somehow democracy will end if we elect the wrong person. That's sort of a perverse irony. You vote for the wrong guy and democracy is over. In other words, you can only vote for us or else you don't have democracy. Libs just are completely unable to understand irony or appreciate irony. There's something deeper going on here. Democrats don't seem to understand, though, and they're still playing. We are seeing the exact same blame game that was played in 2016. There was about a day or two of actual introspection and self-reflection following Hillary Clinton's loss. Leading the charge was Selena Zito, who I believe then was at the New York Times. We would joke here on this show in the very early days of the Dan O'Donnell show, we would joke that Selena Zito, they sent her out on a safari to far-off exotic places like Flint, Michigan, like La Crosse, Wisconsin, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And she actually sat down with regular people and they said, look, Donald Trump understands our concerns. Donald Trump understands that we can no longer afford our lives. Donald Trump understands that all of our jobs have been shipped overseas. Hillary Clinton is a smug elitist. For 8 years, almost a decade now, it has been the same sort of issue with the Democratic Party. The same people have been telling them over and over and over again, we no longer believe that you are acting in our best interests. Ironically enough, do you know the one person in the Democratic Party who actually understands this is the one who seems to be the craziest of them all? Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders went on the weekend shows this weekend and said, look, when the Democratic Party abandons the working people, it should come as no surprise that working people in turn abandon the Democratic Party. So right now, we're in a period where there are some Democrats who are actually looking inward. Jen Psaki on her Sunday show on MSNBC yesterday said, you know what? Maybe the problem is that Democrats our message was focused too much on people like me, white, upper class, overeducated liberal women. You think? But a whole lot more are saying, you know what? No, it is institutionalized misogyny that cost Donald Trump or cost Kamala Harris the election. It's racism. It's the love of a dictator. The American people are just sheep. They yearn for a Hitler-like figure to roll all over them in a Panzer tank down Pennsylvania Avenue en route to a fortress that we used to call the White House. Of course, none of this is true, but the delusion is there nonetheless. Embedded in this delusion is the idea that Kamala Harris was some sort of remarkable figure who, but for said misogyny, but for said racism, but for said stupidity of the American voter, because ultimately that's what they're saying. They're saying the American people are too stupid to have realized how great and how unique a figure Kamala Harris is. On CNN's Sunday show, State of the Union, a former Kamala Harris comms person by the name of Jamal Simmons, he's now a talking head over at CNN, actually floated the idea that Joe Biden should step aside, resign the presidency, so Kamala Harris can be the first female president for 2 months.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States. Whoa. It would absolve her from being able to, from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats operate.
This has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now in the season of House of Cards.
You heard Scott Jennings, who has my support for White House press secretary. He couldn't even contain his laughter. You couldn't see the video, but they showed shots of him just smirking and barely containing a huge grin because he understands what Jamal Simmons doesn't. And that is one of the major reasons that Kamala Harris lost is that the American people saw right through Kamala Harris. In some ways, Simmons is right that Biden did fulfill his promise of being a transitional figure. He just transitioned right back to Trump. He transitioned America through his utter and complete failure. He transitioned America right back into the conservative nation that it's always been. Now, this ridiculous selection or idea, this ridiculous suggestion follows on the same network, CNN, a suggestion by Bakari Sellers, another contributor, former representative, saying Biden should nominate Kamala to the Supreme Court.
You have a hell of a vice president right there who has a legal pedigree to sit on the Supreme Court and let Republicans go crazy and ape. I'm even mentioning that option.
You're floating. Are you floating? This is 7:39 a.m. on the East Coast. Did Bakari Sellers just float Vice President Kamala Harris as a potential Supreme Court nominee?
Not only am I floating it, but I want to stir up everything. I want people's heads to explode this morning so we go into the weekend just knowing that the chaos has not ended just yet.
The only problem of this, of course, is Sonia Sotomayor has said in no uncertain terms, I am not resigning. She is only 70 years old. Now, that is well beyond the normal retirement age, but in politics, apparently since we now have a gerontocracy, a government by the extremely elderly, that's practically fresh out of college. I mean, she can go until she's being wheeled out on a gurney like Dianne Feinstein. The problem, of course, is if that happens in the next 4 years, Donald Trump picks her replacement. Now, the idea here that underpins this notion that Kamala should be president, Kamala should be the Supreme Court, is, of course, the misguided belief that somehow Kamala was this transcendent figure. She tried desperately to recapture the soaring rhetoric of Barack Obama and thought by her mere presence as a woman of color, America would flock to her. This is the idea that somehow she is uniquely positioned by virtue of her belonging in a specific favored demographic group. This is the very misguided notion that has sort of brought America the DEI affirmative action agenda that the country is also wholly rejected. Think about how Kamala was about a couple million votes shy of the presidency in the first place. She presented herself to Democratic voters in 2019 who overwhelmingly rejected her. I'll admit back then, and if you've been listening to the Dan O'Donnell show, if you've been a member of Dan Nation for a long time, you'd remember I was saying that I thought Kamala Harris was going to be the Democrats' nominee. Why? Because they are so beholden to demographic politics. She is a black woman from California. She checks off enough boxes. If she can just be competent, she'll coast to the nomination. She couldn't. She dropped out before Iowa. She presented herself to voters. They rejected her. Biden picked her primarily because, in fact, almost totally because, he promised during the campaign to pick a woman of color for his running mate. The left wants you to forget this, but Kamala's only qualifications were 1, black, 2, woman. The only other theoretical option I think that Biden really had was Stacey Abrams, who was a non-starter from the beginning. After all, according to her, she's the current governor of Georgia. Biden picked her by virtue of her belonging to a demographic group. Once again, she was put into a position that she didn't necessarily earn, but people just presumed she would be up to the job. For 3.5 years, she was so incompetent, first as the border czar, and then in every single speech she gave, she looked increasingly like the Julia Louis-Dreyfus character from Veep. She was a joke. She was a laughingstock to the point where in Time magazine, as recently as March, Democrats were wondering whether she was such a drag on the Biden ticket that he should replace her. But he didn't. Instead, he assured that she would be the nominee. We now have reporting that seems to confirm what Mark Halperin, a very, very good independent journalist, reported way back when Biden resigned. Dave, you and I were covering on July 21st the Biden resignation. We were on the air within about 5 to 10 minutes of that letter being posted on X. We both thought it was incredibly odd that Biden waited about a half hour to an hour before posting another link to a statement endorsing Kamala Harris. There is now multiple reports that suggest Biden did that as a middle finger to the Democratic Party that pushed him out. I will explain coming up. This is pretty big and sort of highlights the divisions in this party. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
One night, one stage, Billy Joel and Sting. Saturday, April 26th. One special evening at American Family Field, Milwaukee. Pre-sale for City Card members Monday, November 11th at 10 a.m. through Thursday, November 14th at 10 p.m. Public on sale Friday, November 15th at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster. Saturday, April 26th. Don't miss Billy Joel and Sting.
High fuel bills are a good reason to buy replacement windows, doors, and siding, but there are better ones. Hi, this is Terry Lodwick, owner of All American Window and Door Company. Our high-performance, energy-saving products mean your kids are always snug in their jammies. New windows, doors, and siding work together to eliminate drafts. So you see, it's not just about your fuel bill, it's about your family. We're All American Window and Door Company on Mequon Road in Germantown. 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Wisconsin. Trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
We've seen that sleep apnea bully stop breathing more than 100 times an hour. But this problem is solvable, and Advent has simple solutions that have been proven to be extremely effective.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is, Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation. But they only come after you've built something they want to be part of.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Intelligent discourse, irreverent fun, and occasionally the host coughing into the microphone while the bumper music is playing because he forgot to hit the cough button. You get it all here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been having so much fun with these for the past 6 days. We present to you another epic Trump meltdown. This one comes to us from a supermarket in Long Island, where a heavy-set woman and a man who was filming her got into it over Trump's win.
This whole country is mentally ill. This whole country is mentally fucking ill.
It's going to be better than ever.
Yeah, because you're a racist piece of shit. You can't wait.
Can't wait.
You know what? When your Social Security is gone, you ugly piece of shit. You'll be the last one laughing, not the rest of us.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I know you can barely read, and you probably got a 6th grade level of education, you piece of shit. But I can tell the only joke around here is you, and look in the fucking mirror.
Stop it. Stop it.
You know, this is exactly why Trump got elected, for crazy people like you.
I'm not fucking crazy, okay? All right? I'm worried about the women in this fucking country. I know you can't care because you're going to go back and drink your beers in your fucking truck and not give a shit about anybody but yourself.
I am.
But the rest of us have to fucking deal with your dumb shit that you fucking did to the rest of this fucking country.
Maybe try low-fat milk.
It's going to get beautiful.
You're lucky I don't swing you in your fucking face, you ugly piece of shit.
Worry.
Okay, was that Susie from Curb Your Enthusiasm? The one who's always swearing at Larry David? I could have sworn it was epic Trump meltdowns throughout the day, every day here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. All you need to do is follow our good friends at the Libs of TikTok. By the way, I believe the only person in the world who is making more money than psychologists is Kaya Rychek, who is running the Libs of TikTok account. You know she is just having a great time documenting all of this. Kamala Harris was the ultimate triumph of the DEI mindset that put demographics before achievement. The idea that by virtue of you being in a protected class, by virtue of you being a favored member of society, a member of the oppressed class, you had a leg up, and it was just supposed that you were superior to somebody from the oppressor class. Kamala Harris really didn't earn anything in national politics. Now, I don't want to get into, yes, she was Willie Brown's girlfriend, and that's how she got her start in politics in San Francisco. She did work her way up from district attorney to attorney general to senator. But once she got out of that far-left, demographic politics-based ecosystem in one of the most left-wing states in the country and arrived on the national scene, the same dynamic was not at play. When she was coronated, it was just sort of assumed, I think, by most of us, that the reason that Biden, when he resigned, endorsed her and Democrats just sort of all followed suit was because, well, I mean, she would inherit his war chest. He had hundreds of millions of dollars that only she legally would be able to get as a member of the same ticket. In reality, Democrats really did want an open primary system. Nancy Pelosi clearly wanted Biden out, but she didn't want Kamala Harris in because I believe she saw what Republicans saw, what most sane Democrat analysts saw, is that Kamala just was not ready for prime time. She wanted somebody like Gavin Newsom. She wanted somebody like Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who we now know, according to multiple reports, actually turned down Kamala's offer to be her running mate. Pelosi wanted an open primary. Instead, she got Kamala, because it is now being reported by Politico, as well as Mark Halperin, on the day Biden resigned, that Biden was so furious. Jill Biden, the Biden family, all of his loyalists were so furious that he was pushed out, that he endorsed Kamala Harris a half hour after, knowing full well that the racial demagogues in the Democratic Party would not allow any other person to take this from a woman of color. Pelosi gave an interview with the New York Times on Saturday in which she all but admitted this.
Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. Kamala, I think, still would have won, but she may have been stronger, having taken her case to the public sooner.
What Pelosi was saying without saying it was, Kamala may have made it out of a primary, but probably not. She would have been a stronger candidate had she actually faced some sort of challenge instead of just the red carpet being rolled out for her. Even Democrats recognize this, that they ran a terrible candidate against a political phenomenon. And this is that nagging concern that I sort of have that I will flesh out in greater depth in the 10 o'clock hour. Is Trump such a phenomenon? Was Harris and was Biden just so unpalatable to the American people that what we're seeing isn't necessarily a red wave in terms of a radical paradigm shift of the American electorate, but just a reaction to all that's happened over the last year? Trump being shot, a second assassination attempt, the attempt to literally throw him in prison, his resilience in the face of all that, his unique charisma, combined with the fact that Biden is the single worst president I think America has ever had. This is something that kind of gives me a little pause as Republicans are taking our victory lap. But one thing that is certain, Kamala ran the most incompetent presidential campaign in recent memory. I've actually got an exclusive story about something that happened right here in Wisconsin that helps illustrate this. Also, how exactly did she blow $1 billion and is now $20 million in the hole? All that coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought, not just talk.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or a candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that, only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there, but not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Malali. Malali Furniture Finishing and Repair, where no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, made for Wisconsin, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
We all want more. More laughs, more hangouts, more, this is the best takeout ever. Excuse me. But if you're 75 or older or 60 or older with certain health conditions, you've also got more risk of getting seriously sick from RSV. But an RSV vaccine lowers your risk, so you can keep doing more of the stuff you love.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
What are the most popular ways to cook a Thanksgiving turkey? Well, you can roast, braise, broil, grill, or deep fry it. But the most unpopular way to prepare your Thanksgiving turkey is to only cook it halfway. While rare is preferable for prime rib, it's not recommended for poultry. So make sure your power doesn't go out while the bird is baking in the oven. With a whole house Generac generator from Mr. Holland's Home Services, your family won't celebrate the season in the dark. Our talented team hardwires your new Generac generator directly into your home's electrical system to keep the power flowing while the lights stop glowing. Right now, Mr. Holland's is making it easy to stay all powerful with 24-month interest-free financing with approved credit. Don't let an unexpected power outage torpedo your turkey day. Call 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Want to make sure your Thanksgiving isn't half-baked? We can help.
When is the last time you paid less but got more in return? It happens every day if you or a loved one has Medicare Advantage. $0 copays and an average of $2,500 less out-of-pocket annually, but more benefits like dental, hearing, and vision. More prevention and screenings to keep people healthy. More care for less money. No wonder 33 million seniors choose Medicare Advantage. Visit MedicareAdvantageMajority.org to learn more. Paid for by Medicare Advantage Majority.
Looking to upgrade your bathroom? Check out Bathfitter. One-day installation, no demolition, no mess, and they're celebrating 40 years in business this year. Call 262-395-4925 to make your appointment with Bathfitter today.
Your next event starts at the River Club of Mequon. A contemporary 400-person grand ballroom with outdoor space overlooks the golf course. This unforgettable venue is perfect for your wedding day or company event. For a tour, visit riverclubofmequon.com.
Do you think our country's going in the right direction, or does it feel like everything's falling apart? If you're a bit concerned, you're not alone. In fact, Americans from all walks of life have taken action to prepare for whatever's coming next. And that starts with having an emergency food supply. Storing food in your home is the right thing to do, because we're living in crazy times, which explains why so many people are preparing. Right now, you can get ready too with a 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. It comes with delicious foods like creamy stroganoff, honey wheat bread, and mushroom rice pilaf, all offering over 2,000 calories every day. Their food kit lasts up to 25 years. Who knows what our country will look like then? But when that day comes, you'll be ready. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com now to order your 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now.
Hey, this is Kyle Brandt. You're busy. I'm busy. But every single Monday, we take 10 minutes to dish out 10 takes. NFL, life, whatever, but never more than 10 minutes. It's 10 takes with Kyle Brandt. Driving home from work? You got time for 10 takes. Taking a smoke break? You still smoke? You got time for 10 takes.
Listen to 10 Takes with Kyle Brandt on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search 10 Takes with Kyle Brandt and start listening.
Welcome back. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Don't mind me. I was just vibing to what I obviously am going to think is the best bumper music in the talk radio game. Producer Dave just cringed at me. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think we need more Journey? Could you not go 1-2 hour stretch without hearing Bon Jovi or Black Sabbath? That was brimful of Asha, the Fatboy Slim remix in the bumper music rotation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, what we did see was a fundamental shift in the American electorate. I also believe it to be a fundamental shift in American culture. The only thing that concerns me very, very slightly is the fact that other Republicans were running rather significantly behind Trump, including our own Eric Hovde. Now, in Michigan, in Nevada, and in Wisconsin, Republican challengers were running against very well-funded incumbents. All three lost. In Pennsylvania, even though Bob Casey is refusing to concede, and Chuck Schumer, the current Senate Majority Leader, is saying he's not going to allow Dave McCormick, who clearly won that Senate seat, for the Senate orientation. It's clear that Donald Trump himself is much more popular than the Republican brand. And this is why the Republican brand needs to adapt to a changing electorate, to what I believe was, in fact, a signal that the American public has shifted, rejected woke politics, and embraced a return to traditional economic, cultural, and political values. Trump is far more of a Reagan figure than I think a whole lot of people, when he first came down that escalator, really wanted to admit. Before we go any further, should we get another epic Trump meltdown? I think we should. This woman saying the first thing she did when she learned that Donald Trump had won the presidency was, of course, wept. Second thing, seems to be a little dramatic, but okay.
Morning, when I learned that Donald Trump had been elected president for a second time, the first thing I did was have a good long cry. The second thing I did was get on the phone and make a doctor's appointment for a surgical consultation to get my tubes tied. It's something that I've been thinking about doing for a really long time, and I feel like now is the appropriate time to do it before my option to choose that for myself and for my body is stripped away from me. So tomorrow morning at 10:30, I am going into my doctor's office and I am going to ask her to do the surgery. When I was making my appointment, the receptionist mentioned that she saw in my chart that I had been in about 8 months ago for a consultation, and she said, "What's bringing you back? What changed your mind?" And I said, "I feel like now is the right time." And she said, "I completely understand." If having your tubes tied is something that you have been thinking about doing for a while, or you feel like it's right for you, I highly urge you to make the appointment and go get it done before you no longer have the option to do so.
So I would very strongly caution against, ladies, taking any medical advice from an unhinged liberal. We name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes. This sort of what I would consider to be a form of psychosis. This woman is making a life-changing, permanent decision based on some delusion that she won't be able to, if she has an ectopic pregnancy, that she could die. That is not at all sane. Now, this is so widespread that Cal State actually has counselors available for people to talk through the Trump loss. A reporter asked an official from Cal State, don't you think this is a little much?
For a lot of the folks, again, because of the fear and the uncertainty of what's coming, this can be a traumatic moment for them. And so I would argue that counseling is not a dramatic response, but that it's an appropriate response. And this is a healing-centered campus. Some of it was more formalized counseling services, and others were really just more intentional interactions. Come in and, do meditation coloring sheet.
Right. Do a coloring sheet. A coloring sheet. These are college students. These are people who are at least allegedly adults. And all of this over the most incompetent presidential candidate in recent memory. I have an exclusive story that I think helps illustrate this. It's a few weeks ago in Wisconsin, the Kamala campaign attempting to reach out to the white working class voters who have abandoned her, but failed miserably. I'm looking at the clock, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Dave Spano coming up after this. We've got to get to the unhinged liberal of the day. You are going to hear that story right at the top of the hour because it is a perfect encapsulation of Kamala as the fictional Julia Louis-Dreyfus character from Veep, and it just explains so much about what went wrong in this woman's campaign. So I know I said we were going to do this after the last commercial break. Stay tuned. It's coming up at 10 o'clock. Trust me, it's worth the wait. Unhinged liberal of the day coming up next.
Thinkability Wisconsin is committed to assisting employers in hiring people with disabilities. Katie Melnight-Meisinger is the COO of Rely Contract Manufacturing, and she found solid benefits hiring through Thinkability.
So they are some of the most loyal folks on the face of the planet, and I can tell you right now that is very, very rare to find in manufacturing. The other piece is they have perfect attendance.
People with disabilities have much to offer in the workplace. Let Thinkability Wisconsin help you secure these valuable employees. ThinkAbilityWI.org.
Tailor-made floors, family owned since 1948 with 76 years of experience. We serve Washington, Ozaukee, Dodge, Milwaukee, and Waukesha counties. Located in Jackson, just a short drive north of Menominee Falls and Germantown. We offer a huge selection of carpets, waterproof vinyl planks and tiles, hardwood, laminate, and sheet vinyl. Choose from all the major brands. Take it with you or let us install it. Before you buy anywhere else, get an estimate from Tailor Made Floors.
Kevin Moret from Mentality Men's Health. We want to thank those in our community who protect us. Firefighters, police officers, paramedics, and our military. Mentality stands behind those who keep us safe and free. To thank all those that serve our community, we would like to extend a blood test of the numbers every guy should know: cholesterol, PSA, and testosterone. These dashboard numbers are vital for men's health. We know our safety depends on your strength. Schedule your first responder lab at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com, and thank you for your service.
This week on Living Your Light, Daryl and Edith share a lesson in numbers.
70 is the new 30.
Is it? I was never good at math.
And the gang has a heart-to-heart.
65 and still making new friends. Golly.
It's independent living at the Marcourt, an Illuminous community. Check out themarcourt.org or call 920-206-4663 to schedule a tour today. Illuminous. Live your light.
Landlords, property flippers, DIY, ladies and gentlemen. The in-stock vinyl window selection that you'll find at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door, get this, is larger than 5 big box stores combined. No waiting 4 to 6 weeks. When you need a solid value on vinyl windows, and you need them now, we have what you need today. And at the hands-down best prices you'll find, because we buy a ton of them. We know the demand is there, and we get ahead of the game, so you can save big. We have more sizes than anyone, and if you need custom sizes or different colors or grids, we can take care of your needs. Now, these are value windows, but don't forget we also carry the highest quality Marvin windows in stock in more sizes and color combinations than anyone. We cater to every price point. This is David Wilhelm with Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Come see what's in store, because we are without a doubt your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
We all want more. More laughs, more hangouts, more, this is the best takeout ever. Excuse me. But if you're 75 or older or 60 or older with certain health conditions, you've also got more risk of getting seriously sick from RSV. But an RSV vaccine lowers your risk, so you can keep doing more of the stuff you love.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Producer Dave, the latest member of Dan Nation. And I do thank the probably 24 of you who reached out to tell me Lindsey Sterling, one of my favorite artists, is going to be the halftime show of the Green Bay Packers game on Thanksgiving night. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to make it even if I was in town. We're going down to Florida for Thanksgiving again this year, as has been a recent tradition. Any other game, I probably would have gone up there just to see Lindsey Sterling. Can you believe this, Dave? When she was at State Fair, I was out of the country with our Operation Overlord trip. You did not go. Did you really? You went? How was she? Good? Yeah, Dave says he has pictures and video to prove it. Yeah, on this, weird that this comes up on this Veterans Day, the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. President Biden, I believe, coming up in, a couple of minutes at 11:11 on the 11th Eastern Time. He is going to be laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. Obviously, today is the day. A lot of people think that Memorial Day is the day to thank a veteran. No, that is for those who have passed. That's to remember their service. Today is the day we say thank you to all who have served.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
All white people are racist. Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is in over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day isn't a crazy person under the care of a psychiatrist. It's a psychiatrist herself, Amanda Calhoun, who went on the Joy Reid show and said, yes, you should absolutely cut ties with your Trump voting family.
When you know someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
So I love that you asked this question because, you know, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who you know have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why.
That's not sane thinking. If a psychiatrist gives you that advice to alienate yourself from the people who you care about and who care about you the most, that's not an actual psychiatrist. What she is today's unhinged liberal of the day. Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex Wealth Management, this week helping us know the difference. Big week for the markets, which didn't just price in a Trump win, Dave. They absolutely celebrated it.
Yeah, they did, and you called it. I'll have to say, I got a little text from you earlier this week. You said you called it, that the stocks are definitely saying that Trump will win. But let me go back to a couple things. Could you imagine, Mom, I can't come over for Thanksgiving because you voted for a Democrat?
I know.
Is that insane? Or that? Now that's truly insane. Yep. Sorry, Mom. Can't come over.
My entire extended family. Okay, like my brothers and my parents and, you know, my in-laws, they're all conservative. But, you know, my aunts, uncles, a lot of them are very liberal. I couldn't even fathom just sort of saying, okay, I'm done with you over politics. It's like my best friend, who I've known since I was in kindergarten. We've been best friends for 30 plus years. He's a Bears fan. Would I just stop being friends with him because he's a Bears fan? Hold on. I've questioned his intelligence for 3 decades, but still.
Is he a Bears fan and a liberal? He's a Bears fan and a liberal? He's probably not your friend anymore.
Bears fan, massive conservative, always has been. Brewers fan and huge Marquette fan, even though he went to UW Whitewater. So we give him a pass on his Bears fandom.
All right, so we've got a minute here. So a lot of policies, as we said, stark difference between policies, and we're going to watch them out. All trade policy, immigration policy, regulation, foreign policy, tax policy, fiscal policy, they're all on the docket, and we're going to have to watch them all because they will certainly tell us where we're going to go in the stock market. Now, as you said, we have had a rally, and at some point you get overextended. People are pricing in all of these things of tax cuts and immigration policy and what that's going to do, but you can get overextended, and we've seen this before. But if you think about themes, that's really the most important part. You know, what themes are going to do better, what themes are not, and you think about ideas such as, you know, China. Is China going to do well? Probably not in this environment. M&A will do well. Deregulation, things that are tied to that, artificial intelligence, all of these are great themes, folks, and that's the reason why we always talk about making sure you're aligned with the facts and circumstances that we have out there right now. We're going to do a politics planning and portfolio and election review coming up tomorrow night, Tuesday, November 12th. If anybody wants to go, it's at the Elm Grove Women's Club. You can go to annexwealth.com/events. Otherwise, know the difference.
We always help you know the difference on The Difference. It's our weekly podcast Dave and I host. It sits at the intersection of politics and economics, even though the election is done. Now, as Dave said, the planning for what the next 4 years of economic policy are going to look like begins. As always, make sure you're working with someone who's working with and for you as a fee-only fiduciary at annexwealth.com. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back after the news.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. The Wisconsin Supreme Court hears an abortion case today. Abortion access in Wisconsin was blocked for more than a year following the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade last September in a case brought by Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul that challenged the state's 1849 law, which had been interpreted as an abortion ban. A Dane County judge ruled the law didn't broadly apply to abortion. Sheboygan County District Attorney Joel Ermansky asked the state Supreme Court in February to overturn that ruling. The justices hear arguments today that will determine whether or not that ruling stands. Kenosha police say they didn't find any real guns at the house of the teenager arrested last week after a scare at Roosevelt Elementary School. Detectives on Friday said they only found airsoft guns. Police say those appear to be the guns in the videos that the teenager made before he went to the school. Kenosha police say the teen told them he wanted to scare the kids at the school. The 13-year-old suspect was in court Friday morning on charges of making terroristic threats. President-elect Trump will hit the ground running on Inauguration Day. Trump transition team spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said in an interview with Fox News Sunday Morning Futures that Trump would immediately address issues of illegal immigration, inflation, and energy policy. She said Trump would sign tens of executive orders on his first day and work with congressional leaders to pass tax cut legislation as quickly as possible. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, after losing to the Boston Celtics yesterday, the Bucks are back in action against Toronto tomorrow night at the Fiserv Forum. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
If you're someone who hears love and thinks about a quarterback instead of romance, you're primed to listen to Green Bay Grapevine on WISN. Before and after every game, hard-boiled reporter Mark Daniels tells Jay Weber and his morning show audience about all of the trends and subtleties swirling around the green and gold.
Green Bay Grapevine is presented by Bob's Glass in Waukesha, featuring installation of glorious glass shower doors. If it's anything glass, think Bob's Glass. Bobs-glass.com.
Here's the latest forecast, presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Gradual clearing overnight, temperatures dropping through the 40s, partly sunny and windy on Monday with a midday high around 52, dropping in the afternoon with a strong northwesterly wind. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by PureTalk.com. Stop overpaying for your cell phone plan. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on America's most dependable 5G network. Switch today. Just dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Okay, close your mouth and take a deep breath in through your nose. So the way it's supposed to be is that you should be able to breathe easily. You shouldn't feel constrained. What it should feel like is air briskly flowing freely through both nasal passages, day and night. And if not, there's a problem. And it's a don't know what your problem really was until you got it fixed kind of problem. You're living with it. I mean, you're tired a lot. It might give you headaches and sinus pressure, but you're living with it. Yeah, you sound like almost every patient we help until we get their problem fixed. And then you hear them saying, why would I put up with that? Advent will get you breathing freely again with simple in-office solutions like turbinate reduction along with balloon sinuplasty that really can change your life.
To date, Advent has solved over 40,000 breathing triangle problems. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Dedicated to providing right-minded candor on the issues that matter to you. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Donald Trump has now been convicted of 34 different felony crimes.
Gunfire, former President Trump's campaign rally in Butler County. Investigators calling it a possible assassination attempt.
I proudly accept your nomination for president.
President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid.
There's been another assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate.
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
Early voting kicked off today.
Welcome to election night coverage.
The Fox News decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
But did his win really signal a fundamental shift in the American electorate? Or was it just a once-in-a-lifetime political phenomenon going up against one of the weakest candidates in recent political history, certainly, I think, since Michael Dukakis, coming off of the worst presidency since Jimmy Carter? We will discuss. Hour number 2 of the Dan O'Donnell Show starts right now. And we begin with the Fall Fortune Cash Contest. The word this hour is cash, C-A-S-H, cash. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website, enter the keyword cash. On this, the first day of the final week of the Fall Fortune Cash Contest, President Biden has just laid a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. An armistice was signed, signaling the end of the Great War, what we now know as World War I. Armistice Day is now known as Veterans Day. And instead of just remembering those who served in the Great War, it is a remembrance here in America and an opportunity to thank those who are still with us in America, who served this country in all of its wars and in times of peace. all those who answered the call to service in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard, all who are proud to call themselves veterans, we owe you a debt that we as civilians could never possibly repay. We thank you for all that you have done. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130, the AdventNews.com talk and text line. You can reach me toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Watch the show streaming live on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to and follow the podcast on iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you don't have the radio turned up too high, because I don't want to blow out your eardrums. If you are listening to me on AirPods or on headphones at work, you might want to turn down the volume just a little bit, because I now present to you one of the loudest but yet funniest epic Trump meltdowns we've found thus far. That, by the way, was him going to all four walls in his room and just screaming into them, shouting, screeching, really, into the void. I have no idea whether this was actually a long-lasting, fundamental shift in American politics. But what I do know is the 2024 presidential election signaled an irreversible shift in media, something that has been coming for a long time, but really reached its zenith in the run-up to the election and now the response to it. The dominant media platform is undoubtedly X right now. Facebook may have way more global users. TikTok and Snapchat are the darlings of the market to some extent. I know Snapchat is sort of notoriously underperformed, but because they're so popular with teenagers and preteens and young people, TikTok is, and a lot of young people do, in fact, get their news from TikTok, and they communicate with each other on Snapchat. Twitter, or X, is the platform by which news is disseminated at literally the speed of, even faster than the speed of sound, unless the sound is a phone keyboard clicking. News gets out quicker, well before it's broken on television or in print or even on digital sites. It gets broken instantly on Twitter. There is a fundamental shift in how exactly we consume news. Now, liberals, I don't think, have quite understood this yet. They continue to have faith in their network news media, and a big reason that you're seeing all of these meltdowns in people just can't, they're unable to fathom how Trump won, is because a lot of them, especially older people, get their news from news networks and from cable news channels that frankly have been lying to them for years about the state of America, about Donald Trump, about the Democratic Party, about everything. They are propagandists pushing an agenda. Kamala Harris, who was, as recently as March, considered to be so toxic to the ticket that she would be dropped, was seen as an almost messianic figure. Her campaign was flawless. What did we hear in the days, the hours and days after her loss? She ran a flawless campaign. It was just the misogyny. It was the racism. It was America's systemic bigotry. It was the misinformation of Elon Musk that did her in. It wasn't. It was her incompetence. The same media that was telling you for months that Joe Biden was not in any form of cognitive decline, right up until the afternoon, right up until about 25 seconds before he gave his first answer on June 27th in the most consequential presidential debate in American history. Prove me wrong on that one. It literally ended a presidency. The media was telling us he's fine. Republicans are just making cheap, fake, doctored videos of him looking lost and stumbling around. They lied to their people. On X, unfiltered news gets through. Elon Musk may have done one of the greatest services to American civilization in opening up the predominant channel for unfiltered news to actually get unfiltered news and opinion. But we were told for months by the media that Kamala ran the best campaign ever, that she was just getting celebrity endorsements, and this was incredible. Turns out she managed to blow $1 billion with a B. $1 billion. She spent more than $1 billion, and by the end of the campaign was so broke that she was unable to run ads in Pennsylvania. Now, I will remind you at this point, a couple of exclusive stories broken by the Dan O'Donnell Show in the run-up to the campaign, run-up to the election, final days and weeks of the campaign. I reported exclusively that Kamala was moving radio advertising money out of the Milwaukee market and dumping it into Pennsylvania on urban radio stations. And then I reported the exact same thing on television stations, that she was pulling money out of Wisconsin, dumping it into Pennsylvania. Her deputy campaign manager, after that tweet blew up, quote tweeted me and said, "Nope, isn't happening." I responded, "Yup, actually it is. You've just given notice that you're going to pull. The money hasn't been pulled yet, but it's going to." I was inundated with lefties saying, "Dan, she raised $1 billion. Yeah, right. She doesn't need to move advertising. What a liar you are." Turns out she did. She was cash-strapped by the end. Do you know the overwhelming amount, the majority of what she spent that $1 billion+ on? Staff. $582 million in campaign staffers. Listed on one of the invoices or one of the campaign finance reports is an invoice for $1 million for Harpo Productions. You know what that is? Oprah's production company. Oprah gave a heartfelt endorsement of Kamala Harris. She very clearly was paid $1 million for it. I had heard rumors that Beyonce was paid $10 million for an endorsement. I can't verify that, but it sort of tracks. All of these rappers and all of these music stars the night before the election, Monday night, concerts in all of the swing states, they didn't perform for free. Kamala's $20 million in debt. You know who's offering to bail her out now? Donald Trump. He says to put country first, to unify. I've got money left over. I'll pay off all her campaign debt. Legally, yes, he can, Dave. Absolutely, yes, he can. So incompetent was Kamala's campaign, they couldn't even pander correctly. The working class vote in Wisconsin was considered critical to Kamala's campaign. In the final weeks of election season, they reached out to working men and women on job sites who had maybe turned away from Kamala, and they tried to win them back. You heard the old saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, for these workers, there was, courtesy of the Kamala campaign. But she couldn't even do that right. I received the following email from a listener whose name I am going to keep confidential because I don't want him to get in trouble with the company he works for. Dear DOD, I am a worker in the building trades, a proud union member, and I'm currently working at one of the largest construction sites in the state of Wisconsin. About 3 weeks ago, our crew of guys were told that we were getting lunch the following day. Originally, we were told that a union representative from our hall was buying us, our crew, lunch. This was a bit odd, as I've never been on a job site where the union hall got us lunch, and it seemed like this would be an odd use of our dues money. We came to find out in real time that lunch was being served to the entire job site of over 1,000 workers. Okay, this can't be our hall buying lunch, I thought to myself. Now, normally when lunch is provided, it's catered by, a restaurant or fast food joint. And it's served with a thanks for the hard work or 30 days without a recordable incident. Here is a lunch for being safe. That said, I walked up to the front of the break area to see several guys in hard hats with scowls on their faces, saying 1 bag per guy, as in 1 brown paper bag. I'm utterly confused as to what is going on here, because I just picked up a brown bag lunch from a guy who nearly yelled at me for doing so. I sit down at my lunch table and open up a single slice of ham sandwich served on a great value stale bun with the smallest bag of chips and a tiny apple. They didn't even give us a cookie, Dan. As I opened my lunch, a man started to speak on a microphone to the 400 workers in the break area. He introduced himself and basically said, "Okay, because we bought all of you lunch, you have to listen to us." I'm paraphrasing, but that was the gist. He continues, Trump, blah, 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 screwed over the union workers that built in his casino in Atlantic City, blah, blah, blah. It then dawns on me that this is a pitch for the Kamala Harris presidential campaign, and my mood goes from confused to insulted. Some guys were speaking up, loud enough for the entire table to hear, but not talking directly to the speaker, saying things like, "This is messed up," and "Stop talking to us about who we should vote for." A few guys threw their lunches in the trash and left the break area. While this type of stunt 30 years ago may have been met with a standing ovation, here in 2024, a lot, not necessarily most or a majority, but many union workers don't relate to Democrats and their message anymore. This is news to you, I'm sure. But wait, Dan, there's more to the story. I returned to my work area after lunch, and my partner asked me, "So, did you enjoy the prison lunch?" Haha, yeah, that basically was a prison lunch. I didn't even eat the sandwich, I chuckled as I picked up my tools. "No," he said, "that was literally a prison lunch. I was doing a smaller job at the local correctional facility down the road. I was there for 4 weeks, and I witnessed inmates making those exact brown bag lunches for other inmates," my partner explained. My jaw dropped in disbelief as I received this revelation. And then it all made sense that an organization I did not catch who the actual organizers were affiliated with and most likely funded by the Harris campaign gave us bag lunches assembled by prison labor for consumption by prison inmates to make a pitch for her presidency. I'll just say it, the whole stunt was as ironic as it was pathetic. Kamala Harris literally served 1,000 prison lunches to working men and women in Wisconsin. And you wonder why those working men and women think Democrats are out of touch. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. A revolution in media is upon us. Can you feel it?
For 40 years ago, being informed was about reading the newspaper and watching the nightly news. Now, with information coming at you at the speed of light, being truly informed is a complex proposition, a more comprehensive process. At WISN, our show hosts frame stories, issues, and topics with both facts and unique analysis, and that leaves you with a richer understanding of the world around you. It's the perfect blend of information and insight. Stay informed all day, every day on WISN.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Steve and Ashley heard our radio ads over the years, and when it came time to buy their first home, they clicked on the blue button. We sent them a credit-verified pre-approval the same day and upgraded to a rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval shortly thereafter. We also let them know about Accunet's property-specific pre-approval, where we might be able to include those magic words, no appraisal required. When they wrote their next offer, several $1,000s over asking to make sure someone else didn't end up sleeping in their dream home, their property-specific rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval did include that most powerful phrase, no appraisal required, and the sellers picked Steve and Ashley's offer over several others. If you think all mortgage lenders and pre-approvals are the same, think again. Go with the local mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. We'll also likely save you $1,000 to $3,000 in closing costs for exactly the same rate as your bank. Whether you're looking to buy or refi, click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility come crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold now. Text SECURE to the number 989898. That's SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
The next generation. Here.
I'm the one. I'm the only one. I'm the one. I'm the only one.
You're listening to Dan O'Donnell.
Do you know who the left has long seen as the guru of elections, even before Nate Silver? It's a university professor by the name of Alan Lichtman. He has his 13 keys to the White House, totally independent of polls. They are things like, is America at war or in a time of peace? Is the president an incumbent who's running for re-election? And if a candidate turns 7 of the 13 keys, Lichtman says that they're going to win the presidency. The problem is the keys are so subjective that they can basically be applied however Lichtman wants. And in fact, Silver actually called him out a couple of weeks ago and said, look, if Alan Lichtman was actually applying his keys properly, they would predict a Donald Trump win. And I actually took a look at the 13 keys and came to the same conclusion, that he was putting his thumb on the scale, or as it were, the keys, to try to force a Kamala victory. His reputation is in tatters right now because, of course, he predicted Kamala and he didn't win. This was the first time since he started using the keys in 1980 that he did not successfully predict the winner of the election. And he's been freaking out about it. He went on MSNBC over the weekend to say the keys were right. It was just all of this misinformation peddled by Elon Musk.
The keys depend upon a rational, pragmatic electorate deciding based on governance whether the incumbent party should get 4 more years. And we've seen the explosion of some trends that have existed before, but not to this extent. Disinformation. You know, Elon Musk is, I don't know how many hundreds of billions he has. He has been the director of misinformation. 2 billion views of his spreading of disinformation, not just about the economy, but about immigrants, about minorities. We've never seen disinformation at this scale. Next, we have never seen to this scale the agitation of 3 trends that have been very deeply embedded in American history: misogyny, racism, and xenophobia.
Of course, he had to throw those ones in there, but his primary argument is that the electorate was just too stupid because Elon Musk has almost godlike control over the flow of information. Folks, they cannot handle even one social media channel being controlled by a conservative. They cannot handle it. And this is nothing new. They were freaking out about this in the earliest days of the Rush Limbaugh show when he was blamed not just for the Republican takeover of Congress in 1994, but by the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, for the Oklahoma City bombing. Democrats have always had a massive problem whenever there's not a monopoly on information held by them, because when information comes out that doesn't follow the accepted left-wing narrative, it has a tendency to pierce that narrative because it reveals it to be totally false. What we are seeing with the rush to podcasts, to independent streams of people on Twitch, which is primarily a video game streaming site where people play video games and people watch to get tips on the games or just because they think the streamers are funny or entertaining. You can make millions and millions and millions of dollars being a streamer on Twitch or on YouTube. I mean, I'm on YouTube. I don't make millions of dollars from it. But the point is that broadcasting as we know it is in large measure dead. Everyone is narrowcasting, or perhaps better put, niche casting. Broadcasting to a specific audience that can be massive, but the host or the production company needs to understand who that audience is and how best to serve it. There's a reason Trump went on Aiden Ross and Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan. Kamala tried to follow suit with Call Her Daddy. By the way, do you know how much they spent building a set for the Call Her Daddy podcast? $100,000. This is like a trust fund baby not realizing that all of dad's stock options have tanked and he's spending money he no longer has. That's what the Kamala campaign was. It's because there is a massive group of people, primarily young people, who don't consume television news. They don't consume television as we know it. Sure, they consume video content, but it's on hundreds of different channels from thousands of different presentations. The media, in other words, has been well and truly democratized. Frank Bruni is a liberal columnist for the New York Times. He was on MSNBC's Morning Joe on Friday, and he fundamentally understands it. He obviously still thinks Elon Musk buying Twitter was bad for society because he's able to pierce the liberal narrative. But he understands where we are going.
I think all of us have to come to grips with legacy media is just not as important as it thinks it is. It is to you, it is to me. That's a relatively small group of people who rely on us for their information. And you have to go into the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. And basically, the way people get information is shattered into 20, 30 different pieces. And so if you just look empirically at the numbers, Joe Rogan's more important than any of us. He just has a much bigger, hyper-connected audience that listens to his every word. So maybe listen to Joe Rogan and kind of understand, like, what is he talking about? What are the guests that he has on? What are the issues that they care about? Realize that the gravity of right-wing discourse is now taking place on X. It's not Fox. X is what matters. Elon Musk is now, I wrote about this yesterday, arguably the most powerful civilian in the history of the country. He controls information flow. He controls multiple businesses. He has the president's ear. He's going to be in charge of some newfangled organization to gut government spending. We've not seen a person with that kind of clout across those sectors. But where his real power comes from is X. People thought he was an idiot when he bought X because he lost a lot of money. He's got a lot of money. And now he happens to have the most powerful platform on the right. And politics is downstream from information. And there's just a whole new information ecosystem out there. So for us, for you, for Democrats, for Republicans, you have to understand that you now are going to have to basically navigate 20 or 30 different parts of the ecosystem if you want to connect with the American people who vote.
He is incorrect that Elon Musk is the most powerful private citizen in American history. I can think of probably about 25 different examples on that score. But what he is correct about is that because there is a channel that is used by tens of millions of people, and because said channel is the most influential, it's the one. Look, it wasn't an accident that Joe Biden put out his resignation letter, one of the most consequential stories of the past century, on X. It's because he knew it would get disseminated as quickly as possible, as quickly as it can be disseminated. News is broken on Twitter. Narratives are set on Twitter, X. The left can't handle that. They controlled Twitter. The FBI embedded itself with Twitter and Facebook and every other social media company to try to throw the presidential election in 2020 to Biden by suppressing the story about his obvious corruption, a story that they all knew was absolutely true. That wouldn't fly on Elon Musk's X, and they all know it. We've seen over the last decade the biggest revolution in the way news is consumed probably since the advent of television. And this, I think, was the culmination of that. The media no longer sets the agenda. In a true democracy, the people do. Is the Trump movement wider than we think, or sort of local to just Trump? We'll discuss next. Hey, Dan O'Donnell for my friends at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you wherever you are in southeast Wisconsin. I've been a loyal Mander customer for nearly 8 years now because of their skill and price, sure, but also because their customer service is the sort you can only get at a third-generation family business. But don't just take my word for it. Here's Colleen, who writes, I just recently had my car repaired at Mander, and they were amazing in every way. Special shout out to Noelle at the front desk for always being available and providing updates. Very much appreciated. So too is your testimonial, Colleen, because I have heard dozens and dozens just like it. People talk about the great experience they have at Mander because it really is the best decision you can make after a collision. With 7 locations to serve you, you can repair easily at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services. Allow me to start by apologizing for the use of a four-letter word in this commercial. If you don't like four-letter words, you might want to turn down your volume. All right, are we good? Snow. There, I said it. One of my duties at Seasonal Services is to plan for winter and the onslaught of snow and ice. Are you responsible for securing a snow removal and ice control contractor for your commercial property? Now is the time to act. If you wait, you may be too late to secure one of southeastern Wisconsin's best snow and ice removal contractors. So if you own or manage a commercial property in Waukesha or western Milwaukee counties, please call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. We have been providing snow removal and ice control services for 25 years, and we are really good at keeping your commercial property safe. 262-392-3444 or online at seasonalservices.com.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Shinecup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
I talk about repairing before replacing because the savings in some cases are ridiculous. And here's a prime example. Not too long ago, we get a call to come out for a quote on a new window, but the customer asks us, hey, if you can fix it, please do, but I don't think you can. I've had 2 other companies out here and both of them told me it can't be done. Well, our guy takes a look at the window, installs the necessary new parts, and $225 later, the window is as good as new. The customer's jaw dropped because in his hands was an absurdly high quote for over $12,000. If we had to replace it, our quote would have been around $6,000. But the moral of the story is, when you have the right people out, you get the results you want, and it can save you real money. This is David Wilhelm. Now, some window problems can't be fixed, but when we can fix it, we will. And that's why Lisbon Storm Screen and Door is your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
This holiday season, join the Salvation Army to make a difference. Visit salvationarmywi.org and donate today.
Celebrate the season with the very best Christmas music ever made with iHeart Christmas. Streaming commercial-free right now on your free iHeartRadio app. From shopping, gathering with friends, or wrapping presents, iHeart Christmas is the perfect soundtrack to your holidays. Listen now commercial-free on your favorite smart speaker and the free iHeartRadio app. Just search Holiday. Free never sounded so good.
Another epic Trump meltdown coming up later on in the Dan O'Donnell Show. I think we'll wrap up the day with another one. I cannot shake the feeling, folks. By the way, welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I cannot shake the feeling that we might not have actually been looking at as transformative or sweeping a change in the electorate as we initially thought. I'm just thinking logically here. I actually do believe that it is the case, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate to some extent. I do, however, on this Veterans Day, as we thank veterans all across the country, I need to tell about one of our great partners, what they're doing on this Veterans Day and what they do each and every year to give back to the Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. They have Veterans Day bonus sales offers, which end today, November 11th at 6 p.m. You get an extra 3% off, plus a holiday blanket with purchases of $799 or more. As always, their Black November deals, 13% off legitimate sale prices, plus 1 year special financing. Excuse me, and up to 5 years special financing. And in honor of Veterans Day, for every purchase made between November 4th and November 11th, Built Right Furniture, Leather and Mattresses has been making a donation to the Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. Folks, this is a company that really practices what they preach. They're an incredible member of the community and have been for almost 100 years now. Marty, Gail, Randy, Brad, and Sarah, they run Built Right Furniture like you would want a business run. And what they do each and every year for Veterans Day just proves it. Their family has been serving your family, and they've been serving my family. Pretty much all of the furniture I now have in storage is from Built Right. My brother, my mom, my in-laws, all loyal Built Right customers. They've been serving all of us since 1928, and they want to wish all who served a very happy Veterans Day. President-elect Trump. So do we call him President-elect or President Trump? I'm just going to slow it down to President Trump. I'm just going to shorten it to President Trump. Yeah, Dave says President-elect Trump. No, he served as president. You always call a former president, president. You can call Scott Walker Governor Walker. Yes. Do I call him that? No. I mean, I call him Scott, right? But would I call him Don? Old Donnie T? No. I call him President Trump. President Trump won a resounding victory. He swept the swing states. He did something that I think a whole lot of political observers thought impossible. He won the popular vote, and he won it by a pretty big margin. We are a divided nation, but Trump, in very large numbers, united massive groups of people. Young voters shifted 11 points to the right in 2024. Black and Latino voters, Trump won a third of them. Very, very funny moment from ABC's This Week. We don't have time to get you the audio soundbite. Jonathan Karl was interviewing Charlemagne the God, the radio host, and Charlemagne couldn't believe it. Jonathan Karl said, Trump won 1/3 of voters of color. Charlemagne goes, what do you mean? What color? Like black, brown? Karl goes solemnly, all of them. Charlemagne's mind was blown. 33% of black and Hispanic, and I would assume Asian voters are in there as well. But was the coalition that Trump built sort of like the Obama coalition? People forget in 2008, Democrats were convinced that the Obama coalition of educated white liberals combined with black Latino voters, especially as there was more and more immigration and more kids who were born to immigrants, both legal and illegal, turned 18, they were obviously going to vote Democrat. It was going to be, as the title of one very influential book suggested, the emerging Democratic majority, until it wasn't. Obama's coalition didn't hold together. In fact, a whole lot of them gravitated towards Trump. Obama's position as the first black presidential candidate of a major ticket got together all sorts of voters who wouldn't otherwise have showed up. Did Donald Trump do the same thing in his 3 elections? As evidence, I'll point to Senate candidates in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Nevada, in Arizona, all of the swing states that Trump won to secure victory, all electing Democrat candidates to the Senate. Now, in Wisconsin, we have a unique case because Baldwin was so desperate, she resorted to the dirty trick of actually funding a fake America First candidate who got almost the exact amount of votes that marked the difference between Baldwin and Hovde. And in Michigan and Nevada, they were incumbent Democrat senators that just couldn't be beaten. In Arizona, sure, Kari Lake just is not nearly as popular as I think conservatives believe her to be down there. And she fought valiantly, but it does look like Gallego, the Democrat, is going to win the seat that Kyrsten Sinema retired from. Does this suggest that the Trump coalition votes for Trump but nobody else? I'll point also to evidence from the 2022 midterm election. Those voters didn't show up because Trump was not on the ballot. Now, you'll always see far fewer votes in a midterm than in a presidential race, but this was noticeable, and those votes were missing from Republican totals. I do believe that far more people than at any point since the Reagan presidency are Republican and are conservative. And I do believe the biggest shift has been with working people, especially the white working and middle classes, who I don't believe are going to come back to Democrats. But will black voters and Latinos especially, who voted upwards of 45%, I don't think people understand how mind-blowing it is that 55% of Latino men, according to exit polls, voted for Trump across the country. That was probably the biggest shift, working class whites and black and Latino men, that pushed every single state except Washington state far to the right. In fact, the states that moved farthest to the right were the most liberal. California, Illinois, New Jersey, New York. All of those states moved significantly towards Trump, I believe, pushed by a group of voters who may not be as ideologically driven as Republicans are gleefully supposing them to be. I'm not saying it's a cult of personality around Trump, but he is a uniquely charismatic figure, possibly the most charismatic since Reagan, certainly in one of the most in American history. Moreover, he had one of the most compelling stories starting on July 13th when he cheated death by a matter of millimeters, signaling that he was sort of spared by God and it was fulfilling his destiny to be elected president. I mean, that is a powerful narrative to return after the party in power was so scared of him that they literally tried to throw him in jail. Donald Trump next week is going to be in a courtroom in Manhattan where he could theoretically be put in prison for the next 4 years. Instead of serving in the White House, he'd serve time behind bars. He overcame that. Is it more that people are responding to that than who are really shifting towards conservative values? I tend to believe that they are shifting to conservatism, that they understand that the Democratic Party no longer works for them. But folks, I do have in the back of my mind this idea that the Trump phenomenon was just that, a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon that when it's gone in 4 years, the Republican Party might have some difficulty replicating. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll wrap things up with another epic Trump meltdown after this.
Think Thinkability Wisconsin has one overall mission: to help employers hire people with disabilities. Levi Stein of the Friendship Circle knows exactly why he got involved with Thinkability.
The people and the work. They do great work in our community, and the people that are doing the work are great people. So together, I like to align with people like that.
An effective strategy to build a productive staff and an experience that's positive and rewarding. That's what Thinkability Wisconsin offers employers. Check it out. ThinkabilityWI.org.
When is the last time you paid less but got more in return? It happens every day if you or a loved one has Medicare Advantage. $0 copays and an average of $2,500 less out of pocket annually, but more benefits like dental, hearing, and vision. More prevention and screenings to keep people healthy. More care for less money. No wonder 33 million seniors choose Medicare Advantage. Visit MedicareAdvantageMajority.org to learn more. Paid for by Medicare Advantage Majority.
Why trust Grandview Homes to buy your home? It's simple. We make the home selling process fast, easy, and stress-free, even if your home is less than perfect. No real estate agents, no repairs, no cleanouts needed. Leave the mess and the stress to us. At Grandview Homes, we live and work in your neighborhoods. Our reputation is built on 15 years treating sellers with the dignity and respect they deserve. Visit GrandviewHomes.com for your fair cash offer today. Grandview Homes, the fastest and easiest way to sell your home.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell. Hard to believe, but the holiday season is right around the corner, and if you're having family come over, I know you're worried about how your house looks. My friends at Bayview Shade and Blind can help. New window treatments can make a world of difference. A simple, easy upgrade can add comfort, style, and safety to your home, and there's still time before the holidays. But that window's closing. Bayview Shade and Blind has 2 galleries, Menominee Falls and Waukesha. BayviewShade.com, sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours.
A lot of negative criticism has come from the fact that we voice our own radio ads. You sound unprofessional, you sound like you're from the UP, you sound like a couple of dopey farmers. All the comments we've had.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
We don't want to sound like everybody else. We don't want to sound super professional. We want to sound like who we are, and this is who we are.
You know, I take things personally a lot faster than what you do. I get all bent out of shape about it, and you're just like, don't worry about it. That's just one person's opinion, you know. And in reality, you're right.
It's not about them liking us. It's about us being who we are.
You know, we want to have good furniture, goes into the home, makes for a happy customer for a long time. And at the same time, we want to have good employees. We want to take care of our employees. We want to support the local craftsmen so they can support their families and their communities. It's what we do.
See more at pennymustard.com.
Like us or hate us, it's what we do.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
iHeartRadio is your #1 app for the holidays. Just open the app and search Holiday and start listening now. You'll see your local holiday radio station, plus all kinds of other holiday stations, playlists, and podcasts. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility come crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold now. Text PROTECT to the number 989898. That's PROTECT to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply. Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
WISN. Big taxers, big spenders, political cronies, global warming alarmists, charlatans, liars, scam artists, and feeders at the public trough. The threats to your happiness are many, but that's where we can help. News Talk 1130 WISN. Our truth shall keep you free.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Show. Just about a minute to go here on this busy broadcast day. We will be analyzing the presidential election and Trump's cabinet picks as they come in. UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik, who we had on the show, great pick. You also have Tom Homan as the borders are. We, though, want to wrap up a Monday show by feeling good, by having some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it is another epic Trump meltdown.
So glad you guys got your cheap ass groceries and your cheap ass f***ing gas, because you're f***ing broke as shit. You're f***ing broke. You're f***ing broke.
That is a legitimate response. There was no acting there. That might be a legit cry for help. Talk to you tomorrow, same time, right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.